The Prepared Project, which is the Planning for Resilience in East Africa through Policy Adaptation, Research and Economic Development, is a 5-year USAID Kenya and East Africa program. It has 3 components: climate change adaptation, biodiversity conservation, and water supply, sanitation, and hygiene. So we work with the East African Community Secretariat in Arusha and the Lake Victoria Basin Commission Secretariat in Kisumu on these 3 components. President Obama came to Tanzania, and during his trip in July 2014, he issued an executive order indicating that the U.S. government was committed to combating wildlife trafficking.
And finally, we discussed an issue that's inseparable from Africa's identity and prosperity, and that's its wildlife. Tourists from around the world, including the United States, come here, especially to Tanzania, to experience its natural beauty and its national parks, and that's obviously an important part of the economy of this country. But poaching and trafficking is threatening Africa's wildlife. So today I issued a new executive order to better organize U.S. government efforts in this fight so that we can cooperate further with the Tanzanian government and others. And this includes additional millions of dollars to help countries across the region build their capacity to meet this challenge, because the entire world has a stake in making sure that we preserve Africa's beauty for future generations.
So it's in response to this transboundary threat that USAID is taking decisive action to reduce wildlife crime in the region. USAID is working with national wildlife conservation agencies and expanding existing counter-wildlife trafficking interventions using advanced tools like WILD. USAID is keen to strengthen the capacity of governments and intergovernmental mechanisms in East Africa to take the lead in counter-wildlife trafficking.
One of the ideas that arose was that conservation groups working in conservancies, wildlife management areas, and other conservation areas outside of national parks and reserves needed a simple application, a simple tool to collect and analyze data that they collect in the field. Data on human-wildlife conflict, poaching, community incidents related to wildlife, etc. So during the time that we were thinking about this, we talked to a number of conservation groups, including Mara Elephant Project in Masai Mara, Big Life Foundation in Amboseli, Tanzania People and Wildlife in Tarangire, and also Honey Guide Foundation, Endomet, West Kilimanjaro. And they came up with the idea of developing a very simple real-time application using cell phones.
Previously, scouts used to carry a pen, a paper, camera, a GPS coordinate, and a clipboard, or maybe a file to be able to record data about their day-to-day interactions or the kind of sightings or incidences that they encounter during their patrols.
Didn't quite meet the needs that we had at the time, one of which was remote submission. But to start at the top of the list, so what we wanted as an organization running Scouts was improved data. How could we make sure we were getting all our data? Remote submission, like I say, running a Scout network over such a big area, trying to get all of this information back to headquarters collated, things were getting lost along the way. Ease of data sharing, so we work with Honey Guide just across the border, and even 2 organizations that are working so closely together, even we can't get our data sharing right.
And WILD, the Wildlife Information Landscape Database, came out of numerous discussions with these organizations and through a grant to Strathmore University in Nairobi, Kenya, to develop the application based upon users' needs. So over a period of about 1.5 years, we worked with scouts, more than 400 scouts in these organizations, to define the indicators and the data that they needed to put into their databases.
Ole Tuk is a scout at the Kakulewa Conservancy. On his smartphone, he has the WILD app installed. In the app, he records all his patrol information, which is stored in the app. To begin his patrol, he hits the Start Patrol button. If he needs a break, he can choose to pause his patrol and enjoy a quick breath of fresh air. With the WILD app, Ole Tuk can keep track of wildlife populations in the area. He selects wildlife sighting and enters the animal details and even adds a photo. Ole Tuk records and reports critical poaching information like poachers' weapons and animal parts recovered. He can also report signs of poachers such as gunshots, a poacher's camp, or footprints. With the Wild app, Oletuktuk combats human-wildlife conflict. He helps report on livestock predation, crop raiding, and property destruction. By recording and reporting wildlife injuries and retaliatory killings, he enhances human and wildlife coexistence. Administrators instantaneously access and analyze the information transmitted by the Wild app. This information collected by the Wild app can be shared with other organizations. This helps create landscape-level data and contribute to evidence-based decision-making.
The app is also able to help the rangers collect data from informers who are based within communities in a way that it allows them to be able to be proactive in terms of preventing poaching activities before they happen.
Our rangers have been positive about the application. They are happy about having the same device with a paper, pen, and a GPS and a camera all put together in one device. And they have been, to quote some of them, they have been saying they're happy to move from analog to digital.
Kwa majina unaitwa nani? Joseph nani? Ulipatikana ukiwa na nini? Napanga. Ulipatikana ukiwa na panga? Ndio andika hiyo panga. Nyumbani ni wapi?
Nyumbani ni ng'ambo ile.
Taja jina ya nyumbani bwana.
Nyumbani ni Ndulele.
Angalia chini bwana. Ongea ukiangalia chini.
Ndulele.
Ndulele.
We collect various types of data depending on the organization that they intend to use wild. For Big Life Foundation, we are using it to collect all forms of data from wildlife crimes, human-wildlife conflicts, to even community service.
Inarahisisha kazi yangu wakati ninapokutana na mnyama wote ama na muhitaji, unarekodi hiyo field report, unatumana tu immediately kwa ofisi.
So far, while help the community to record, for example, if there is a need for compensation, and also you can record on a paper and your paper get lost. But when you record the phone at the same time you send it direct to the administration, that means that the data is sent successfully. So there is no doubting of the information being lost because the information is just recorded and stored in the wild application.
The app is also designed in a way that it can operate in an area without any network. So it has an offline capability where it's able to record data, store the data until the scout gets into an area with data visibility and it's able to send that back.
We also have other key manuals, modules, informer management, case management, user management. There is a panic button when some incident happens and you need to get information directly back to your management unit to respond quickly, and a quick tool for collecting information during these panic situations.
Another unique thing about Wild is the language. Currently you can be able to use Wild in English or Swahili. Another very unique thing about Wild is the use of icons. So even if you're not able to write or read a particular name, but you are able to visualize a particular icon, you still be able to register or capture data using Wild.
Another important feature of the system is the sharing of the data. Organizations or conservancies can share data across regions or globally. And some of the data that we can share is human rights conflict, poaching, animal mortality, illegal human activities, community service, wildlife sighting, and climate.
Our goal of this particular project is to have a device that can be adopted by both public and private conservancy organization as the primary tool of data collection. As of now, each organization has their own data sets. They do not share information. So an incident might happen, let's say, in the Amboseli ecosystem, but it's only the Amboseli people who have that information. The Mara ecosystem conservancy organization have no clue. A poacher might be identified in one area, but he moves to another area, and that area these guys don't have any information. Now, this particular application will allow organizations to share this data. The data they agree to share will be accessible across board, and the various organizations will be able to monitor what is happening, make very instant decisions in a very proactive way.
With those other tools that we have currently, we do capture some information, but we miss the information needed right on time. What is it is that is going to be the value addition of wild? The rangers will capture information. The information will be sent directly to the central unit where the information will be centralized.
This form, the forms developed in the system have all the details required to collect this information. So it actually enables them to send the data as accurate as it can be in real time.
Nikiangalia wildlife human conflicts, sisi kama idara, kama kwa mfano Mara Elephant Project, tunahakikisha ya kwamba tunashikana na Kenya Wildlife Service ili tupate report ya kwamba kuna ndovu imeharibu mimea fulani ama kuna ng'ombe fulani imepigwa na wanyama. Sisi tunapofika pale tunachukua kwa ile wild, tuna record wildlife hiyo human wildlife conflicts, tuna submit kwa ofisi, wanasaidia na kuna Kenya kupeana hii report wafanya mambo ya compensation.
And we're also in the process of continuing to support Strathmore over the next year to manage the cloud-based system where the data will be stored.